in the loop.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to In the Loop. Today I'm joined by an artist whose music carries soul, history, and love for the dance floor. He's a producer, DJ, and a key figure in the underground culture, blending disco, house, and electronic music in his own unique way. Please welcome Joe Bubbles. Hey, Joe, what's up? So, welcome to In the Loop.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, I'm going to start from your name. How did Joe Bubbles come about?
Yeah, good question. I was asked to make a release in a compilation EP. I think it was about 10 years ago. It was my first release, and they asked me if I could come up with an alias in quite a short time. So I just had to find something out that sounded funny or cool or whatever. So it was just a coincidence, actually. And then I thought that the name stuck. It's kind of a playful thing, and that's how I want people to see my music also. It's supposed to be fun, but it's also kind of serious, actually. Yeah, both sides. But I think the name Bubbles came from various different directions. But just there are characters called Bubbles. If you know, you know. But it's like, yeah, and then of course with an alias, you can try to find something that sounds like generically cool and underground, blah blah blah. But it's not my style. Yeah, it stuck, and yeah, it's
Awesome.
It works.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a super cool name and it has a really nice ring to it. And coming to your releases, you released, I think your first EP was 2018, or you were part of like a mix EP, as you said. That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had been starting to produce more, trying to become more professional, because I started producing music in my home on my computer. I don't know, almost like 20 plus years ago or something. So,
Wow.
But then I got stuck, and I was actually a bit intimidated by the technical side of things, that I didn't really know anything about programming computers or programming synthesizers, and yeah, it was a bit scary. Seriousness of producing. I put it aside, and also I had children, and it was like other things on my mind. So
Absolutely.
but
So
I think I
you would
started
say-
again in 2015 or 2014 something, to produce music and starting to build my studio again.
So you are like a self-taught musician? You really have no like a background in music? Or how did you stumble upon, okay, I'm gonna start producing music?
Okay, so I started playing instruments when I was, I don't know, maybe 9.
Okay.
And I was, when I was a kid in the 80s, I used to sit next to the radio and press tape recorder. And so I was really into music like very early, like when I was 5 or 6. And then I went to music, like a music program in high school. So 50-50 music and ordinary subjects. So I have some sort of schooling, but not very deep or very like developed. But I started listening to electronic music when I was like 14, 15, in the mid 90s, when electronic music was like super exciting and new. It was like everything. There was the trip hop scene in Bristol, and it was the jungle scene in London, and it was like the house scene in New York, and so many different inputs. So it was a great time to go into DJing and music producing. So that's how it started.
That's like an interesting thing. How did you get access to all these sounds at such a young age? Was it through radio or buying music?
I was buying music kind of early. When I was like 10, 11, I started to like buy records, CDs mainly. But in the beginning, it was actually records. And then a bit later, I started to collect records. So, yeah. But I think the thing at the time was the music magazines. So we were a group of people, and we were all reading the same, also Swedish and also English, like DJ magazine and that kind of thing. So we were trying to find different sources because there was no internet, so you had
Right.
to dig it out yourself, and you had to order the records and pick them up at the record store like weeks later, and it was kind of difficult to get hold of the stuff.
I would also guess like a fun journey, right? That today it's become too easy in a way.
Yeah, because now you can get like any record through Discogs, or you can download it, and people are sharing, which is also good because music is spreading much more easily. But
That's true.
the records that we thought were like holy grails and like super difficult to find now are like any other record. It's like very easy to find them. So today's climate has to, it's more, in a way it's more difficult now because finding your style and your flavor is like much more difficult than it used to be, because then you didn't have all these choices.
Absolutely. That is very interesting. Finding your style and finding your voice.
Mm-hmm.
How have you figured that out, or have you figured it out yet? How's that going for you?
Yeah, I don't think you can ever figure it out completely, because when you make music, you want to, at least for me, I want to like evolve and find new expressions and new styles. But I guess since I started kind of late and to produce professionally, I have a lot of things in my past that I refer to. So it's easier in a way than when you're in your 20s and you have to like find everything out at once. I already DJ'd for a long time, so I have an idea of what I like and what I dislike, and it's pretty good. But then also to find your voice, I mean, that's, in electronic music today, it's really difficult, I think, because there's so much music coming out, and to be original, I mean, I'm not sure you can even say that you're original.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. What was the first artist in a way that kind of really pushed you over the edge of like, hey, I want to be like that, or I want to create something like that? Who were you listening to when you felt that?
I mean, I think a few artists that really inspired me is, if you listen to my music, I think you can hear it also, is Larry Heard, of course, the great Mr. Fingers. Because not only does he produce, or does he still produce music that's kind of in the area where I dwell as well, but also he's very diverse and like in a way experimental within his genre. So yeah, definitely Larry Heard. I think or also when I started producing, it was really Maurice Fulton, who was also, in my point of view, very experimental and very doing his own thing, producing with like minimal equipment but still making like super funky music on his computer and with like really basic stuff. So yeah,
that's the toughest thing for a producer, right? To hold back. I mean, you constantly want to add more things and add more layers and make it more like deep as a sound. And I've been listening to your music, and of course it has its layers, but it's still very grounded and yet uplifting. So that's a very hard place to find the balance.
It takes a lot of work.
Yeah,
to make it sound like that, I think.
Correct. And I wanted to ask you, like, since 2008, your last EP that's come out, To Carino. And what's your journey been like? What has it been for you? Like, what were your mistakes or challenges in these years that you faced?
For one thing, the thing that you actually just said, that not like adding too many layers, too many melodies, too many things, too many ideas. That's my main challenge, because when I make something, it very quickly becomes kind of complex, and I tend to lean towards like some sort of jazzy structure, that everything has to be a bit wonky, I guess, and that's also trying to simplify things is that's the big struggle. Yeah. Okay. And I think when I started to make music, I was there's always a certain simplicity to new producers' music, because you're still trying to get your head around the things that you work with. So, but then very quickly it became kind of complicated. So that's been the struggle. And now with the last two releases that I made this past year, I tried to stay in the loop section for as long as possible to not like overload too much. But yeah, it can go on for a long time, and sometimes I have to put things aside for months before I can finish it, because it's too much work to go to try to find what the essence of a track is, or the essence of the music that you made. So, but yeah, kill your darlings. That's the biggest challenge.
That's the mantra.
Yeah, that's the mantra. Yeah.
So when you produce music, do you have like people with you, or like do you have sounding boards of people who are telling you like, hey, this sounds great, or you can take this out? Like, do you have people working with you, or are you like a solo producer? You like to do things on your own and finish things off?
I'm a bit of a loner, yeah. But I do have a few people that I know will tell me what they actually think, which is very valuable when you make music, because most people will just say, hey, this sounds great. Then it's nice, but it's not used to you if you're not satisfied with the thing that you made. My younger brother, used to produce music also for a long time and DJ, so we have the same like taste in music, and we constantly listen to music together. So yeah, he's the main source for I don't know, for critique.
And does he also send you stuff that inspires you? Like, hey, let's take a listen to this and check it out.
Sure. I mean, he stopped DJing a few years ago and stopped making music. So I think what he listens to now is it's moving away from what we have in common within dance music and soul music and that thing. So it's nice. You get like different input, and he has a different perspective, I think, on music now than what I have. So that's pretty good. But I do try to also collaborate with people more, and trying to find people that you can work with or just play around, because it's also something that gives you new energy in the studio, makes you find new things or new ways to work around the stuff that you have here. Nice.
I mean, one of the biggest thing like new age producers or producers who are just starting could be facing is like, oh, how do I know that my track is finished? So how do you know that a track is finished?
I think up till now, I had most of the labels that I worked with, I had like a conversation with the person releasing, because like small labels, it's usually other DJs and producers that run them. So you can have like a back and forth, and you get some feedback, and you get to develop your track. But sometimes it's very in detail and it takes a long time. And sometimes it's just like, hey, I think this mood is the most important part of the track. You should lift that up and lower some of the other elements. And that can be enough. But yeah, I think nowadays it became more intuitive, the way that when I sense that, okay, now the track is almost finished. And it's usually kind of like an expiration. You're like, yeah, now I feel it. Now I feel it, and now I can like work around the small things, like little
the tweaks,
little tweaks, little details, little mini melodies or effects and stuff like that. And then that's a fun part of producing, I think. When you know that the foundation is solid, you just have to find the little.
So going forward, what is your outlook towards music? As you said, like so many DJs, so much music.
Mm-hmm.
What is your purpose in all of this?
Yeah, good question. I'm I know from my experience of DJing, I know that a standout track is one thing, and like a tool is another thing. And I realized quite early when I started to make music that I'm not really that good at making tools. I try to make tracks that will stand out in a way. So, but I think the future holds more tools, more grooves, and maybe both. I don't know. I try to make like music that's kind of eclectic and broad, and so it certainly has a a specific sound to it, I guess, but I try to make a lot of different music, like slow tracks, ambient tracks, techno tracks, house tracks, like, and to keep going with that, because I tend to be bored very quickly with like the same. And I know that a lot of producers that I really like, they make like the same style all the time. And that's their thing, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not my thing. I need to move around and do different stuff. So I try to do like a different track every day.
Every day?
Yeah, every day.
Wow.
Every
so
day.
What are you working on now?
A lot of different things. Like, when I started this year, I wanted to make an album. So that's one thing, and I have like a folder with 10 or 15 ideas. Some of them are kind of finished, and some of them are just a loop or something that I want to develop. And it's like all over the board. And it became like a really scary project, actually. Like a pressure. It was like holding me down and making me feel bad. Like, no, I can never make anything good again. That kind of feeling.
No. Yeah.
But that's also part of producing music, I guess. You have like maybe a month or two sometimes when you're like not feeling it. But then the idea of making a track every day is like, even though it doesn't become anything, it's just keep moving, keep doing, keep working. And sometimes you can pick up a jam like that and you can rework it and it becomes something really special. So yeah, that's what I do. But I have like an EP that I'm planning, and also a album or a longer record
release. That's amazing. That's really, really awesome.
That's the plan.
So this year, like 2025 was 2 EPs. That's a really cool thing. And 26 is going to be EP and album, most likely.
I don't know. We'll see. But that's what I'm working on.
And are you, like, as you said, you like to collaborate also. So are you collaborating with other DJs from Stockholm or maybe from other parts of the world to be on the album? Because that also kind of helps reach in a way?
Not right now, but I think that's the plan. I want to bring someone who sings into the picture. So that's one of the plans, to collaborate with one or several singers. But I don't know, the project is kind of loose still. But the people that I collaborated with, mostly we've just been jamming and trying to find something in common. And it's mainly with DJs and producers. So it's more like, you make a few tracks together and you see where it goes.
That's awesome. And is it a house music album, or is it going to be more eclectic, something more undefined for now?
There are a few house tracks on there, of course, but the plan was to make like some ambient, some dub, some different styles, some trying to write a pop song with lyrics and like pop structure. So that's also part of the reason why I hit the wall, I think, for a while.
And is this going to be English, Swedish? What language are you going to?
English, I think, for now.
Okay.
Yeah. But now I have the feeling I said too much, because maybe there will never be an album. We will see.
No, I hope.
But
I guess the universe is listening. It may happen.
It may happen. Yeah. Let's keep it at that. It may happen.
And 26 is now just begun, so that's also a good thing that you already have something like that in your kitty. So you have a bit of time. Tell me something about your professional life. Like, now you've completely stopped. Like, what were you doing before you became a musician?
I'm a teacher. I teach Swedish and French in secondary school to teenagers. And last school year, I was working full time, which means 45 hours a week. And I was feeling that I had evolved a lot within the music I was making, and it was like moving faster. And I wanted to take the time and also have the opportunity to take a gig if something presented itself. So I wanted it to be open. But also I was kind of stressed out, actually. So it was also like a mental health decision, to trying to lower the rhythm a little bit. But I do still work. I still have like a part-time job, or I work shifts or hours. So, but I can say no if I don't have time for it. It's pretty good.
Wow.
It's like kind of flexible. And the DJ, then I can say, I'm sorry, I can't work this week, and then it's fine.
Any underground raves for teenagers in school?
Oh yeah, I mean, I do meet my previous students from time to time in nightclubs and rave parties. So yeah, that's
That must feel so cool, right?
I hope that it's cool for them. I mean, I don't, but it's kind of strange because also when you're a teacher, you try to keep these worlds a little bit separate. And then eventually, when you worked like 10 plus years as a teacher, your students will be adults at some point, and then you will meet them. So I'm getting used to it. But it's
And tell me, like, how does the music, like today, who is the artist that you look forward to, like a release, or who are the top 3 artists for you today that you feel, wow, these guys are really, making some edgy new music that I haven't heard before, kind of.
I mean, I gotta say that within dance music, it's not that like some people say, hey, yeah, dance music is so not interesting anymore and blah blah blah, and it's not true. But after a certain time, when you DJ for a long time, you can become a little bit jaded, I guess. So I can really enjoy some of the music that's coming out, and I constantly dig for new music, but it's not like, maybe I'm not feeling that it's so new anymore. But I don't consider dance music to be that new. It's kind of old actually, and most of the concepts have been already set. So, but yeah, I did play before Sam Goku in Berlin in November, and I've been listening to his music for a few years, and it's not always the music that is my taste, but it's always interesting and inspiring. So that's definitely an artist and DJ that I follow, and is also like a super sweet guy. So he's one of them. I listen to a lot of like hip hop, R&B music, and for a few years I listened to Kendrick Lamar a lot, and I still go back to it because it's music that is constantly like moving and evolving and changing, and the production techniques are always new and sound kind of fresh. So he's an artist that I really admire, and it feels like he has like a control of his creative process, like the whole creative process, not only the lyrics, but also the style of music and the sound and that kind of thing. And within like more traditional dance music, I, like a lot of people, I listened a lot to and played the Ploy records from last year, and especially the one that he released on Ryan Elliott's label Faith Beat, which is excellent. I don't know, it's really like the pinpoint of music that I like. It has like a ravey side to it. It has like a modern, very crispy production, but also has like elements of garage and like house music and vocals. So it's, yeah, that's definitely a blueprint for making dance tracks for me right now.
That's awesome. And what do you like? Which artist do you think you are most closest to, or who do you want to be like, or what is the sound that you desire eventually when you are going to be making music now in 2026?
Yeah, that is a very good question. I try not to think that way. Or if I do, I don't want to tell you.
No.
It has to be a secret. No, but I think the releases, the artists that I mentioned before are definitely inspiring, but also, I mean, music can always be a blueprint for your own production. It's not going to sound exactly the same anyway.
Correct.
So you're like
you're
picking
inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, I did a release last year on Ed Davenport's label, and Ed is also a good friend of mine, but also like a super skilled producer and mixer, and we have this like ongoing conversation back and forth on productions, and he sends me his new tracks and I send my tracks or sketches, and so yeah, I definitely listened a lot to his productions, because when you're like moving back and forth like this, it's pretty good. And that makes you evolve also within the functionality of dance music, I guess, because when I started producing, my music was not as functional for the dance floor, and I still like it to be a bit weird, but
Mm.
trying to move closer to the function of music, because when you go to a club, you're not like listening for like the details. You want the thick,
The
like
groove, yeah.
yeah, you want to hook up to the groove, and you don't want it to end, and it's like a different perspective than when you're sitting down and listening. And I did go to a lot of clubs and a lot of rave parties in the last 30 years. So yeah, dancing is definitely important. So when you're feeling your own music like that, when you can actually groove to your own music, then you know it's you found something.
Wow, that I think that's the perfect answer. I know there is no perfect in the world, but I think that is one of the most perfect answers for an artist, to be able to create something that you enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of music that you make, you're not gonna you're never gonna listen to it again after you finish it, because it's a long process, and you're like, it's up
Yeah.
to somebody else to find it and use it or listen to it. But sometimes when you make a groove and it's like, yeah, this one really worked. And sometimes, most of the time, you have to hear somebody else playing it before you can actually realize, okay, this was actually groovy.
Yeah.
You know. But when you're in the studio and you're like locked in the groove, that's a good sign.
Yeah, and you also used to do a disco rave for almost a decade. Why did you stop it, and any chances of bringing it back?
Yeah. It was a group of people that was kind of exclusive for that time, and then we like kind of split up. But one of the people that was part of the Hägring crew was my friend Fredrik, and we still DJ together. So I think that when you find us spinning together, you will get the same vibe. But actually, to be honest, organizing open air parties it has expired for me. I'm too old. I love the whole thing and the preparations and the whole atmosphere but it's like really, really, really hard work. I can't carry the speakers anymore. I get too exhausted. So I let the young people do that. I can go to the party and have fun. It's nice
Right.
to.
It's the same, and DJ as well.
Yeah, sure. That's no problem.
Awesome. So you've been like part of that culture that was like 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
maybe almost 15 years ago. And
Yeah.
lot has changed in Stockholm. Like for you, from your perspective, what is the biggest kind of difference these days? I mean, of course, drugs and
Oh, yeah.
rave, and I mean, all that is different, but how different is it today?
Yeah, I think it's hard to answer that question because it's also where you're at that time. But I moved to Stockholm in 2010, and that's when we started to do the open air parties. And it took a couple of years before we established it. But I think it was like a more, from my perspective, it was a more innocent time. There were not as many parties, and the parties were more diverse. I would say they had more of their own character. And today, like rave parties are a lot of them are like kind of the same. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's and a few years back now, like 3-4 years ago, it was like flooded with parties. There was like 4 or 5 parties every weekend, and I'm seeing, like, I guess it's like a wave, you know. In 2010, there was like it was kind of slow in Stockholm. There were a lot of new parties popping up and a lot of interesting people doing stuff. And then it became like flooded. And then now it's like the clubs and the parties are not as interesting at the moment, I think. So there's definitely a vibe that there's like new things starting to pop up, like Spice 99, for example, which is like a kind of a punk club for ravers, and it's also like within the city and has like a totally different vibe to most of clubs that I've been going to for the last 10 years. I think that there's a shift in the audience, what they want, and the music and the vibe in the clubs.
And also one important thing, I think you also have a point of view on the whole political situation of the world,
Mm-hmm.
which is a complete rave in itself. And does that also like impact how you make music?
I mean, I do believe in the healing power of a dance floor for sure. The most practical revolution is on the dance floor, and I think that the rise of fascism in the world, especially in the last 2-3 years, I think that dance music has to become more underground and more like
Challenging.
and revolutionary, because I mean the whole dance music scene is a very capitalist place, and I hope that people can detach themselves a little bit from it. So yeah, making music that's not necessarily functional in a TikTok video, that's for sure, that's important, because it also means that people will have to find it and they have to work for it a little bit. And that's part of the revolutionary side of dance floors, that you come together, you have a communion, you're supportive of each other and you show empathy, and that whole perspective of dance music kind of got lost in the pandemic. So now it's time to rebuild it, I think. And that's a part of changing. I mean, sounds like a cliche, but it's can change the world a little bit to a better place, I think. I hope.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all hope. At the rate that the world is going at the moment, I think it's very shocking. And let's hope good things come out of music and people can create the right kind of messages to share.
Yeah, I hope so. But I think we also have to redefine what we do. What is life for? Is it for consumerism or is it for something else? And music is part of that, like consumption wheel, more and more. So yeah, it's important to
do you
make a statement.
Do you have any pressures about social media? Because that's where kind of the whole publishing aspect, the marketing aspect of everything comes in. What's your point of view when you release your own music? Are you pressured by it? Are you stressed about it? How do you plan a release and expect that it'll go to people?
I'm really bad at it. I think it's also part of being like growing up in a time when marketing was not really a part of the scene makes me also kind of lost. So I depend on the people that I work with who knows this part better than I do. So it's important, of course, to have a label behind you that can back you up and can help you out. No, it's really something that stresses me out a lot. And also I try to avoid certain things, but it's really hard. You try to avoid to exploit yourself too much or to make content that you don't really want to do. I mean, it's difficult. It's always in the balance.
Yeah, I understand, because it's like today, what is your following is like the first question many brands or companies would ask, like, how many people are following you? Okay, then they kind of, and do you ever feel the pressure of, okay, I have to somehow build my audience, or I want to get more people to listen to my music, so I have to also have a strategy going in 26. Do you have a plan for that?
Yeah, not a very serious plan, no.
Okay.
But I think that I probably ought to have a more business focused outlook for sure, to be able to do more gigs and to spread the music more. But I'm kind of, on the other hand, kind of content with the rhythm of my life at the moment. So maybe I don't want to stress it either, you know. But I'm not getting younger, so maybe it's time to do something about it. I'm not convinced about the whole marketing thing either. It can be very hollow. I think you can pay someone to do your marketing, and it can end up in nothing. It's always about like a very, very much a choice that you have to make. Is it worth it?
And what are the channels that you're available on? So Instagram is one of them. Do you have YouTube or some, like you have the Bandcamp and you have Resident Advisor, these places, like a YouTube channel with your music? No. Okay.
You have to choose a little bit because I think I follow quite a few people on YouTube, and most of them are like record collectors who share music that they buy or like channels for promotion for different
Like a
artists.
discovery kind of.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I use Instagram as well for myself as a DJ. I try to follow people that I know are going to post interesting music or content. So,
Okay.
but I mean, there's always SoundCloud, and I have a few followers there, but that's where I used to be a lot. But I see that it's not a place where people hang out that much anymore. So yeah, it's a good question. I mean, where are you supposed to be in 2026? I'm not sure. It's not going to be TikTok for me. I'm sorry, but there are a lot of different platforms. Also, there are quite a lot of new like open source platforms starting for DJs to share their music with each other, like Exhibit and a few different ones like that are not part of like the big tech corporations, more like underground, more community based networks. So that's what I'm hoping for.
That's where
It's not really marketing. It's more like building your community.
that's where the revolution begins.
Yeah, let's hope.
In the underground. I mean, my question is like, if you have to give advice to your 20-year-old self, what advice would you give?
I mean, apart from don't be so anxious, but that's what you say to every 20 something. But in one way I wish I would have started earlier. So maybe just do it. You can I mean, one message that I try to spread sometimes through my channels is that you can learn anything. So the whole idea of like the intimidating technical side of making music, it's not rocket science. You can learn. Every person has different ability or like predestination for learning those kind of things, but it's not that complicated. But it did take me a lot of time, and I guess when you're older, it takes more time to learn. So start early, and you'll be ahead of the curve. It's a good thing. And also maybe one more thing is that if you start early, don't expect it to happen fast, because it doesn't. I mean, it takes time. You have to make thousands of jams and tracks and ideas, and most of them are just going to go into the bin, which is fine. I try to imagine the music making as like a writer's, a writer in the early 1900s with like a big waste basket filled with like paper like this. You just throw new stuff in there, and then eventually something comes out of the trash can, and you're like, yeah, this could
why
be
did I throw
something.
this? Yeah.
Why did I throw it away? Yeah. So that's my idea of things. If you polish something for months on end, then probably it's in the end it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's better to throw it away and pick it up sometime.
Awesome. I think, Joe, I wish you the best for 2026. I'm really looking forward to listening to your music. I've been listening to your music for the last whole week now.
Thank you.
And it's been really cool. I think you'd really have a distinct sound, and it's different in its own way. So awesome, and good luck, and thank you for being a guest on the show.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me today on In the Loop. It's been a pleasure having you, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. Remember to stay tuned for more exciting guests and insightful discussions. Until next time, keep the music alive and stay in the loop. Take care.